Wicked: The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire. Our story begins not with the familiar tale of Dorothy, but with a perspective rarely explored, that of the so-called Wicked Witch of the West. Elphaba, as we come to know her, a creature of sharp intellect and even sharper wit, observes Dorothy and her companions from her vantage point high above Oz. Their ignorance of their fate, their naivety, both amuses and irritates her. Elphaba, forever an outsider due to her emerald green skin and unsettling teeth, finds herself perpetually at odds with the shallowness and hypocrisy that permeates Ozian society. We rewind to Elphaba's extraordinary birth, an event marked by both wonder and despair. Born with emerald green skin and unsettling teeth, she is instantly ostracized, deemed a burden, even a curse by her father, Frexbar the Godly, a prominent unionist minister. Melina, her beautiful mother, struggles to connect with her unusual daughter, her maternal instincts failing to overcome the shock and disappointment of Elphaba's appearance. The family dynamic is further complicated by the arrival of Nessarose, Elphaba's younger sister, born without arms and showered with adoration by their father. Their lives take a dramatic turn with the arrival of a charismatic quadling glassblower named Turtle Heart. His presence awakens a dormant passion in Melina, leaving her with the unsettling uncertainty of her second daughter's paternity. Their secret encounters become a source of both guilt and joy for Melina, further complicating her relationship with her husband and her daughters. Tragedy strikes with the arrival of the Clock of the Time Dragon, a grotesque spectacle of propaganda and cruelty that fuels the villagers' fear and anger. The clock, with its disturbing puppet shows and pronouncements, exposes the villagers' hidden desires and prejudices, leading to violence and social unrest. Frexbar, failing to shield his flock from its manipulative influence, is publicly humiliated and ostracized. In the ensuing chaos, Elphaba is born, and Turtle Heart, scapegoated by the villagers as the source of their misfortune, is brutally murdered. Haunted by their actions and drawn to Turtle Heart's people, Melina and Frexbar dedicate themselves to missionary work in the Quadling country. They seek redemption by bringing the word of the unnamed God to the Quadlings, hoping to alleviate their suffering and guide them towards a better life. Elphaba and Nessarose grow up amidst the harsh realities of poverty and political turmoil, witnessing firsthand the exploitation and suffering of the Quadlings at the hands of the Emerald City. Elphaba, with her green skin and defiant spirit, becomes a constant target of prejudice and misunderstanding, further fueling her sense of isolation and her determination to challenge injustice. Years later, Elphaba and Glinda, a beautiful and ambitious Gillicanese girl, find themselves unlikely roommates at Shiz University. Their initial interactions are marked by tension and conflict, as Glinda's shallowness and preoccupation with social status clash with Elphaba's prickly demeanor and sharp wit. However, they gradually forge a bond through shared experiences and a growing understanding of each other's complexities. They navigate the challenges of university life, including social hierarchies, academic pressures, and the complexities of female friendships. The arrival of Nessarose, seeking solace and a fresh start after their mother's death, adds another layer to their dynamic. Nessarose, still grappling with her physical limitations and yearning for her father's approval, forms a close bond with Glinda, who helps her navigate the social scene and embrace her own unique beauty. Elphaba, initially wary of Glinda's influence, eventually recognizes her genuine kindness and accepts her as part of their unconventional family. Elphaba and Glinda's lives become intertwined with the brilliant but ostracized Dr. Dillamond, a goat and esteemed professor advocating for animal rights. His groundbreaking research, exploring the biological and genetic similarities between animals and humans, becomes a threat to the wizard's regime and its discriminatory policies. His brutal murder, attributed to a supposed accident, shakes Elphaba to her core and ignites her commitment to fighting for justice and equality. She suspects Madame Morrible, the powerful headmistress of Crage Hall, and the wizard's machinations behind Dillamond's death, fueling her distrust of authority and her desire for change. Elphaba becomes increasingly involved in activism, challenging the status quo and advocating for the rights of the marginalized. Elphaba's path takes a romantic turn with the arrival of Fiyero, a charismatic Vinkus prince studying at Shiz. Their connection, passionate and intellectual, challenges societal norms and deepens Elphaba's understanding of love and acceptance. Fiyero, initially drawn to Glinda's beauty and social grace, finds himself captivated by Elphaba's intelligence, wit, and unwavering convictions. Their secret encounters become a source of both joy and conflict, as they navigate the complexities of their respective backgrounds and responsibilities. However, their relationship is cut short when Fiyero is forced to return to his tribal duties, and his wife, Sarima, leaving Elphaba heartbroken and alone. Elphaba, fueled by grief over Dr. Dilliman's death, disillusionment with the wizard's regime, and a yearning for Fiyero, becomes involved with a network of underground activists seeking to overthrow the corrupt government. She embraces her identity as the Wicked Witch of the West, using it as a shield and a weapon against those who would seek to harm her or those she cares for. Her reputation as a powerful and dangerous witch precedes her, creating a mystique that both protects and isolates her. Meanwhile, Glinda navigates the complexities of Shiz society, discovers her own talent for sorcery under the tutelage of the clumsy but passionate Miss Grayling, and eventually marries the wealthy Sir Chuffrey, securing her position in the upper echelons of Gillikini's society. However, Glinda remains conflicted, aware of the injustices perpetuated by the wizard's regime, and haunted by her own complicity in maintaining the status quo. She struggles to reconcile her desire for a comfortable life with her growing awareness of the need for change and her loyalty to Elphaba. The arrival of Dorothy Gale, whose house tragically lands on Nesseros, killing her instantly, sets in motion a chain of events that will forever alter the fate of Oz. Glinda, recognizing the symbolic power and rumored magic of the silver shoes Nesseros received from their father and that she enhanced with a spell, entrusts them to Dorothy, sending her on a journey to the Emerald City in search of a way home. Glinda hopes that by removing the shoes from Munchkinland, she can prevent further unrest and protect Dorothy from the dangers of Oz. Elphaba, fueled by grief over her sister's death, a desire to reclaim the shoes, and a thirst for vengeance against the wizard, sets out to confront Dorothy. She sees the shoes not just as a symbol of her father's love for Nesseros, but also as a potential source of power in her fight against the wizard's tyranny. Their paths converge at Kiamoko, Fiyero's former home, now occupied by Elphaba and serving as a refuge for her, Nanny, and Lear, a young boy of mysterious origins who has become like a son to her. Elphaba, isolated in her mountain fortress, has dedicated herself to studying the Grimoire, a powerful book of magic and knowledge she discovered at Kiamoko, and to conducting experiments with animals, drawing inspiration from Dr. Dilliman's research. She has created a menagerie of winged monkeys, hoping to empower them and defy the wizard's control over animals. The confrontation between Elphaba and Dorothy is charged with tension and conflicting emotions. Elphaba grapples with her grief over Nesseros's death, anger towards Dorothy and the wizard, and a desire to reclaim the shoes that represent both a connection to her family and a potential weapon against the oppressive regime. Dorothy, seeking forgiveness for Nesseros's death and a way to return home, finds herself caught in a battle she never wanted. In a dramatic showdown, Dorothy, fueled by a desire to protect herself and her friends, throws a bucket of water on the burning witch, inadvertently fulfilling the wizard's plan and solidifying her own reputation as a heroine who vanquished the Wicked Witch of the West. Elphaba's supposed demise is celebrated throughout Oz, while the truth behind her actions and motivations remains hidden. The wizard, exposed as a fraud from another world by Dorothy and her companions, and his true form revealed as a small, unassuming man, flees Oz in a hot air balloon, mirroring his arrival. His departure leaves a power vacuum and throws Oz into further political turmoil. Elphaba's legacy as the Wicked Witch of the West is cemented, her acts of defiance and rebellion twisted into a narrative of malice and evil. Her complex character and her fight for justice are overshadowed by the dominant narrative crafted by the wizard and his supporters. Glinda, haunted by her choices and the manipulation she endured under Madame Morrible, assumes a position of power in the North. She uses her influence and sorcery for the supposed betterment of Oz, promoting education and advocating for social reform. Yet, she remains conflicted, aware of the injustices still present in Ozian's society and haunted by her own complicity in maintaining the status quo. She becomes a symbol of hope for some, but also a reminder of the compromises and sacrifices often required to navigate the complexities of power and influence. The silver shoes, imbued with symbolism and rumored magic, become a coveted artifact, their true origin and power forever shrouded in mystery. They appear and reappear throughout Oz, sparking hope and fear in equal measure. Their journey becomes intertwined with the fate of Oz, symbolizing both the potential for good and the dangers of unchecked power. The shoes represent the enduring legacy of Elphaba and Nessarose, two sisters whose lives were marked by both hardship and a yearning for a better world. Elphaba's story, however, is not as straightforward as the legends suggest. Through flashbacks and introspection, we delve deeper into her complex character, witnessing her struggles with self-acceptance, her unwavering commitment to justice, and her capacity for love and compassion. Her journey challenges our preconceived notions of good and evil, forcing us to question the labels we assign and the biases we hold. We see Elphaba not as a one-dimensional villain, but as a multifaceted individual, shaped by her experiences, her relationships, and her unwavering belief in fighting for what is right. The novel delves into the intricate tapestry of family relationships, highlighting the challenges of navigating love, resentment, and the weight of expectations. Elphaba's strained relationship with her father Frexbar, burdened by his religious fervor and inability to accept her for who she is, reveals the lasting impact of parental rejection and the yearning for approval. Her complex bond with her sister, Nessarose, is marked by a mixture of love, resentment, and a sense of duty. Elphaba's sacrifices and efforts to protect Nessarose, both in childhood and later at Shiz, demonstrate the depth of her love despite their differences and Nessarose's occasional pettiness and self-centeredness. Elphaba's complicated relationship with her mother, Milena, is further explored, revealing the underlying love and regret that haunted their connection. The theme of social justice is woven throughout the narrative, with Dr. Dillamond's fight for animal rights serving as a powerful allegory for discrimination and oppression. His research, challenging the established hierarchy and exposing the fallacy of supposed differences between animals and humans, becomes a catalyst for Elphaba's own activism. Her own experiences as an outcast, ostracized for her appearance and beliefs, fuel her passion for advocating for the marginalized and challenging the status quo. The novel prompts us to examine our own biases and consider the ways in which societal structures perpetuate inequality and injustice. The novel also explores the corrupting influence of power and the dangers of blind obedience. The wizard's regime, built on propaganda, fear, and the suppression of dissent, highlights the ease with which individuals can be manipulated and societies controlled. The creation of the Gale Force, a brutal military organization tasked with enforcing the wizard's will, and the implementation of discriminatory policies against animals demonstrate the oppressive nature of the regime and its disregard for individual rights and freedoms. Wicked delves into the philosophical questions of free will and destiny, inviting us to ponder the extent to which we control our own lives and the forces that shape our paths. Elphaba's journey, shaped by both choice and circumstance, reflects this complex interplay. Her defiance against societal norms and her commitment to fighting injustice demonstrate her agency and refusal to be defined by her past or the expectations of others. However, the novel also suggests that larger forces, such as political turmoil, social prejudice, and the manipulations of those in power, can constrain our choices and limit our freedom. If you enjoyed this book breakdown, please consider liking this video and subscribing to get notified when we post our next breakdown.